me a little bit about your project. How's it going so far?
So we are learning about weathering and erosion.
The best thing about being a PBL coach is when I am helping teachers identify how the content, the skills, the standards, whatever it is that they're required to teach matters to children, helping them see how they can make learning more authentic to their students. So that might be specific social studies standards, addition skills, math skills, or those success skills that students need in the real world. So skills like collaboration. I really love going into classrooms, knowing that a teacher has been working really hard on using these specific sentence frames when building a class discussion or when giving critique and revision, and seeing students use those skills authentically with their groups. Project-based learning is not something you can just pick up and teach. It's not something that you can just do without having a plan, without having that collaboration piece beforehand. When I look back at my experience with project-based learning, we were trying to do this in isolation by ourselves in our classroom, and I second-guessed myself a lot. I didn't even know if what I was doing was project-based learning. So I really envisioned what would I need in a role where I'm trying project-based learning for the first time. And I think having a coach to help me process through my ideas is really impactful. To be a successful PBL coach, you need to have a strong sense of collaboration. You need to be able to lead and facilitate professional development, meetings, one-on-one meetings with teachers, team meetings, so with groups of teachers. I also think it takes a lot of flexibility, because when you're teaching a project or going through a project-based learning experience, you need to be able to meet both the teachers and the students where they are in the project. And so you have to be able to not only think ahead as to where students' minds might be, where teachers' minds might be, but plan for that and be okay if things don't go away that you originally planned. So for example, maybe a teacher has an idea about a final product, and the coach knows that maybe that isn't the most impactful end product. So also helping teachers see how flexibility is a really important success skill. I also would say you have to be strong with understanding grade level standards. So really helping teachers see how math, ELA, social studies, science standards can come together. How can we make connections to the curriculum that I'm teaching with what is happening in our world? Going back to that authenticity piece, helping teachers see how they are required to teach on a daily basis can be elevated even more through project-based learning. So how can we create a driving question around this unit? How can I make my final product public to people outside of my classroom walls? So really talking through those ideas, but then also being able to model, what does this need to know questioning process look like? I know my students need to ask questions, but how do I do that? So having someone to model those different strategies, those different protocols, and then to go through the observation, talk through your implementation with someone else to actually guide you on whether or not your project is successful. When I am working one-on-one with a teacher, I am bringing in a lot of background knowledge on specific components of project-based learning. So different feedback protocols, different collaboration tools. It's really important that we bring our strengths to one another. For example, my area of expertise is PBL, project-based learning. I will provide different feedback protocols, model how do we do a gallery walk in our classroom? What does a gallery walk actually look like? I will help teachers connect ideas that they have for their specific content area and see how we can build in reflection if that's an area where they know they are weak or an area that they need to grow. I will bring those specific PBL components, and the teacher needs to bring their expertise where they've the strongest understanding, their content area, their grade level standards. Then I can support and say, okay, how can we create a driving question around statistics? How can we create a final product to showcase all of the learning and make that learning public at the end? Or who can we bring in to really amplify or echo the content that you're teaching? Is there an expert that could give your students feedback on their in-progress drafts? So I really try and help teachers see where they can elevate their content by those different PBL components.
It's great to have somebody to collaborate and to bounce ideas off of, especially somebody that's an expert in it. Our coach has the knowledge of all the grade levels and what they're working on, so she's able to tell us what to build on or what to build background knowledge on. Be lost without her.
One of my greatest success stories from PBL coaching would be working with a new teacher. This teacher already had many components of a strong PBL teacher. She's student-centered. She really listens to students' voice and makes decisions based on what they are saying and what they are wanting. She takes students' backgrounds and interests and really embeds them into the project. And so seeing her through our coaching meetings, through our goal setting, through observation, seeing her take this formulated project, something that already had the project path planned, but allowing space for students to make the decision on the final product was a huge success. So she took the final product and made it into something completely different based on what the students were asking, what the students wanted to know, and where their interests were. One of the big things is facilitating the planning behind it. Where we are now is not where I think we can be. We have so much potential of creating really high quality projects for our students. And so I really want to help teachers find what they're passionate about, what they are interested and connected to, and how they can bring that into their classrooms. If students see how excited and passionate their teachers are about a specific topic, that will be mirrored in their actions and how engaged and motivated they are in the classroom. I was just talking to a group of middle schoolers last week, and they were talking to me about what they remembered from 6th grade, what they remembered from 7th grade, and both of them were projects. Students are remembering the projects that teachers are implementing. Students are connecting to the content that they're learning. They are able to explain why in their reflections and conversations, they can tell you why learning matters. And you can hear it from students' reflections when they have the opportunity to dig in deep, when they're asked to think critically about a topic, when they are allowed to truly investigate and explore the content and the questions that they are asking. Those are the things that they're going to walk away remembering. That's what they'll remember about school.